Cool. Thank you.
Go ahead and get started. Questions? If you want to raise your hand, I'll call on you. Get started with Thomas. Thomas?
What is it like being back here, kind of your second home, and celebrating everything that's happening?
It's great to be back. Yeah, I love the city. I love the whole town of Denver, and even out further than that. We got to go up and stay at the ranch a few days. The girls got to ride some horses, and now we're back and enjoying seeing people that we haven't seen in a long time. I'm really excited about the teammates that are coming back. Really impressed with that daggone drone show last night. I had no idea. I thought it was gonna be a doozy, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Todd, talked a lot about your father's influence throughout
Yes.
your career. Can you talk a little bit about after your career as a player, after you retired, what he talked to you about the Hall of Fame?
Well, he passed soon after. Hall of Fame was never discussed, but Hall of Fame was discussed when I was a child, coming home from Little League games, Mickey Mantle games, not college, but when I was young, leading up. My dad was very hard on me, but he would also lift me up when I was down. And one of the things he would say when I'd go 1 for 3, 1 for 3 was not good in our house, but he'd say, "You go 1 for 3, son, you make it to the Hall of Fame." And I didn't know what the Hall of Fame was, but I thought it had to be pretty cool, so it made me feel better.
Part of that is, did you have a sense for his sense of your belonging there in your career?
I am 100% sure he thought I belonged there. He probably thought that after my rookie season. When I was down in the hotel in Cooperstown, practicing my speeds for the 30th, 40th time, the last time I did, I started thinking about how much this would have meant to my dad. And I broke down and truly got emotional. And it actually scared, I hadn't cried like that in a long time. And it scared me because I couldn't get the words out. And I was afraid I was going to get on stage and do the same thing. But I think I just got that good cry out, and I think it took the nerves away for me going out there, and I think I spoke better because of it.
Todd, the last 7 or 8 months has got to have been an absolute whirlwind for you.
Yeah.
What does the next chapter of your life look like?
Well, I'm going to sit in silence for about a good 2 or 3 weeks before I do anything else. I haven't got that far. We have 4 years before my daughter graduates high school, and I think big changes will be made at that point on where we live, what we do, and I'm happy with what I do right now. I'm not looking for anything else. I play golf, hang out with my friends, I take my kid to school, and I just do regular things. But I live in Tennessee, and in Tennessee it's a slow pace, and I enjoy it. The Rockies thing, I can't see myself quitting that. I can't see myself wanting to do any more than that, because I pick my own schedules, pick when I want to go, and if it's going to be cold, I just don't go. And the Rockies are probably still paying for the ticket because I don't even tell anybody. I enjoy working with those young kids. I enjoy watching them develop. I take pride in it, and it makes me feel great when those guys, when I talk to a kid, and maybe not the first night, but you see him implementing the things that we talked about. For me, that's a great joy. I want these kids to not make the mistakes that I made. And I'm not talking about crazy mistakes, I'm talking about 3-0 swinging too hard because you're in the ninth inning and you're down 3 runs or something like that. I don't really mess with their mechanics that much because they got to the minor, they got the pro ball. They had to have something, and I want them to use what got them there. I mean, we may make a tweak or something, but the game is so mental. That's the stuff I want to help them with. I challenge the shit out of them. I'm hard on them, and that's why I don't work with the major league guys. It wouldn't work out too well with those guys. The way I talk to those kids.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Todd, I know you were on the field last night for the drone show.
Yeah.
When you come back and you're actually on the field, what kind of emotions or memories stir up in you? Does anything come to mind specifically?
Yes. The first thing that comes to mind when I step in between the white lines is how bad my back hurts. It's triples. There's guys that retire and they think the game is easier. I watch baseball and I'm impressed how these guys are playing. It looks so hard to me on TV. And we obviously want to play better as an organization, but a lot of things upset me, baseball in whole, and it's been discussed everywhere, but like I said on TV last night, and I hope they didn't take it the wrong way, I said these guys walk back and they got a smile on their face after they strike out. And I wasn't referring to the Rockies guys, I was referring to Major League Baseball in general. I want guys to have a competitive at-bat. And when you're swinging for a poolside home run 0-2, you're not going to have a competitive at-bat. So once again, that's just the mindset of some things that, let the ball travel. Against a tough lefty, left on left, it's going to be different because it's harder to see spin, it's going to be later, so you have to let the ball travel. And you might not have as much power, but you're going to get hits. And there's times to let it eat and basically yes, but it's not 0-2. And so I talked to the guys about that, about situational baseball. I think baseball in general, the situational baseball is terrible. And for me, I like getting a guy over. I like manufacturing a run. If it's a 10th inning, you don't have to manufacture a run. I don't even know I've never seen that yet because I don't watch too much, but wow. Okay, enough of that.
Congratulations, Todd. There's a moment I know for the Hall of Famers sitting out on Lake Otesaga with the other Hall of Famers from that class. What was that moment like, and what were some of the thoughts that went through your head looking out on the lake and realizing that you were a Hall of Famer?
I got to sit out there, and Larry and I spoke for a good 15-20 minutes. And Larry was so gracious to me. He helped me. His wife absolutely helped my wife get prepared for what we were going through. So Larry and I spent some time out there just telling stories. Kind of. He's been in the Hall of Fame 4 years. I had been in 4 minutes, and so he just kind of helped me prepare me for what was coming. In that same 30-45 minutes, there's a balcony that comes off the Otesaga, and I get a whistle, Helton, and it was Johnny Bench, right? So I run upstairs as fast as I can, which I haven't run upstairs in about 10 years, and sit down, scared to death, because I had been warned about the Johnny Bench talk. And I'm not going to say everything he said, but I'll tell you what he ended with. He said, son, you are now a part of the greatest fraternity in the world. And I got goosebumps, tears came to my eyes, but I didn't want to cry in front of Johnny Bench. So to me, that was my most cherished moment, was sitting there looking out into the beautiful night, sun going down, and having him say that to me was one of the best days of my life.
Todd, I think if I'm right, you didn't see the plaque until you got it on stage.
Correct.
What was your impression of the picture, the image, the sculpture, and also were there any words that especially stood out for you from the inscription?
I thought it made me look kind of burly, which I enjoyed. It could have went the other way, and I wouldn't have enjoyed that too much. I like how just if you look at the first sentence, who blended plate discipline with elite contact skills. For me, that's what I felt I was. I wasn't a home run hitter. I was a doubles hitter. I was a guy who could fight off bad pitches when I wanted to. A guy who knew the strike zone, and never, I don't say never because I did, but mostly did not try to do too much with the ball. I was probably, and like I said, I don't watch too much baseball anymore, but 2 strikes, I would spread out, and we'd call people in the clubhouse and stuff would call it, I'd get in a crab stance, and I'd be so spread out, and all I was worried about was using my hands. And why I started doing that was because as a kid, every day, our first warm up to get started would be spreading out and using your hands. And so at one point, I was struggling really bad. 02, I was in panic mode, and for some reason, I just went back to what I did when I was 12 years old. And this is some of the things I share with minor leaguers are, I was trying to make contact, but when you're doing that, you sometimes you react and you can hit the ball further than if you took a softball swing. So, and you're definitely going to put wood on the ball 90% more. So I enjoy that when it comes to the plaque, and I'm also very proud of my defense, because I can remember Bob Gephardt coming to New Haven, the New Haven Ravens, George Bush Field, and him telling me, back in the day, they didn't sugarcoat things. He looked at me and he said, son, you may be able to hit the big leagues, but with your defense, you probably won't make it. And I don't know if he meant that or if he was trying to motivate me, but it certainly did motivate me, and I worked my butt off. And that's probably why the 3 Gold Gloves are my most cherished trophies.
Hey Todd, just watching the game last night,
Yeah.
watching some of the younger guys, what did you see that you were proud of knowing that you were part of them coming up to the minors?
Of course, I got to say something about my man Beck, because he's from University of Tennessee. He showed out and got 3 hits, maybe 4. I lost count there at the end. What about Charlie Blackmon? He hits the home run to the second deck, which I didn't know he had that kind of pop anymore, so old as he is. But yeah, I love Charlie Blackmon. He was and is one of the greatest teammates you could have, and I think that's why he is so liked and loved by the fans of the Rockies. He does his best to show up and play every day, and he does that not by just showing up and playing every day. He does that by getting prepared the night before, waking up and getting prepared to come to the field to give himself the best chance to get on the field. I did not always do that, but I tried to. But the man's discipline will let him play, a couple more years if he'd like.
Would you like to see his number beside yours and Larry's? 42 and Kelly McGriff.
I would love to. Love to. I think he deserves it. Not only. I mean, I was doing TV last night and they threw up his stats. Organizationally, where he ranked. I mean, how do you not put him up there? And if you throw on top of that the type of guy he was or is, and what he has meant to his teammates, he deserves to be up there.
Hey Todd, what are your impressions of Tolia? He struggled for a while, but he seems to be getting it together a little bit. And I know you worked with Michael a little bit in the minors too.
Totally, okay.
Tolia, yeah.
Yeah, when I first, defensively, he's always going to be fine. He's a guy that when the first time I laid eyes on him, I had to tell him nothing about defense. For a big guy, he's got the softest hands, and he moves pretty good laterally, and last night when I showed up and I looked at the scoreboard and it said 219, I was a little disappointed. But then I looked a little further into it, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he has 10 home runs on the road and 9 at home. So there's some growth there. I think he will hit better for average as he gets more comfortable, but he's going to have to make some big time adjustments to do that. But he's a smart kid, he works hard, and I think he can make those adjustments.
Todd, did you get a chance when your plaque went up to look at some of the other plaques and look at some of the other players that were in the hall?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on those and the fact that you only have one team on the bottom of your plaque, Colorado there, where so many other players have multiple?
Yeah. I spent about an hour in there with my family alone, just going around and not only looking at the plaque, but telling my girls the history of this guy, the history of that guy. I loved looking, at the Lou Gehrig, Ty Cobb, Stan Musial, that Mickey Mantle. Not only the guys that I loved, but those were the guys my dad talked about loving, and me emulating those guys. But to see guys that you played with up there that were older in you. You know, there's a lot of them in there that retired as soon as I was getting in the league. So it's not like I knew them or anything, but I looked up to them and respected them because I was probably in middle school when they were playing. And you know, seeing those up there, you know, seeing them up there really didn't. It was cool, but I don't think it really hit me until I realized I was going to be up there with them. You know, and that's when it hit me like, oh, wow, this is really freaking cool.
Todd, first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you feel is the single most impactful piece of advice that you received throughout your life or career?
Well, I have two, but I'm going to give you the one that I'm going to say tonight when I have the great honor of speaking after the best public speaker in the world, Peyton Manning. I was struggling really bad late in my career. I was sulking. I wasn't myself. I wasn't being a good dad, father, anything. And I think my wife kind of got sick of it, and she didn't sit me down just because I was already sitting down, and said, "You go to the park today, and you focus on helping someone else." And I was like, well, that's not going to help me get out of the swamp, darling. She goes, "Do it." And I went, and I did it, and it took so much pressure off me. I was so much more relaxed when I went out there to play. Honestly, I don't know how I did, but that advice has helped me, you know, for the last 20 years of my life, way after baseball.
Can we follow up? Do you remember who you, I had another question, but who you helped that day? Or if you made a point to talk to?
I do remember.
Who was it?
I can't tell you.
Did they go 4 for 4 or something? My
No.
question though, I don't know if you can ask this or not, but do you have names at the top of your head that you hope are the next, whether they're Rockies or guys that you love, you know, playing against that should be enjoying the Cooperstown after you? A couple names, top one. That you either played with or played against that aren't in yet that you'd like to see in the Hall of Fame as well?
I mean, there's a lot of obvious ones out there. Cabrera, Pujols, Verlander. I mean, you know, just guys. I mean, those are all locks, right? You know, I love Justin Verlander. I mean, I love him as a competitor. Hated facing him, and there's no doubt he should be in the Hall of Fame when that time comes.
Congratulations, Todd.
Thank you.
You mean so much to not only the Rockies organization, but to Denver and Colorado State as a whole. Even before the larger celebration tonight, is there anything you'd like to relay or say to Rockies fans and fans of your work overall?
Yeah, there is, and I will say it when I'm out there on the field giving my speech. The whole thing is for the fans, and what they meant to me, what they did for me, how they motivated me, how they lifted me up when I was definitely in bad spirits, on and off the field. They've been very gracious to me, and they made me feel like I'm part of a really big family. When I talk out there tonight, I will be more candid just because I feel like I'm talking to friends and family. It may make me say something stupid, but you know, or take something too far, but who cares?
Todd, what have you seen of Charlie Condon so far, and what do you project for him?
I saw Charlie Condon when he came in and played at the University of Tennessee. I obviously watched other tape on him. I have not seen him since he's been drafted. I don't know how he's done since he's been drafted, and it really doesn't matter, to be honest with you, because you can start evaluating him once he's had a full off season to prepare. Big kid with a great swing. For me, a swing that'll play anywhere. It's not a long swing for a big guy, with a guy with big levers. I've seen him handle multiple pitches in multiple zones. He looks like he has good pitch awareness. I think the sky's the limit with this guy. I think we got the best position player in the draft. See you guys.
Thanks, Todd.
Todd.